that is the perfect example of a great system that you have to pay for. It's not much money, but
No.
there's a heap of entries. It goes towards conservation. It's a great model. I love it.
Yeah. I think with the hog deer, it's a very unique situation that we have in Australia. I believe we're the only country that can hunt free range public land hog deer. And yes, it's not ultra successful. You know, it's a lot easier to go out and get a sambar deer in decent sambar country than it is to get a hog deer on public land. However, that ballot system has created an opportunity for people to throw. I think it was last year might have been $25 to put your hat in the rink of drawing a ticket for like premium hog deer. You know, they're shooting pretty good stags and seeing deer every day. You know what an adventure it is to travel over to an island and you're there with 5 other dudes, and it's a really cool sort of concept that the Blonde Bay ballot system is. And yeah, I believe that if there's more awareness around the fact that hunting can generate vast amounts of income to organisations and produce the outcomes that they need for feral deer management or feral game management or whatever they'd like to label these animals. I personally don't think that they're a feral species. You know, they're mostly utilised. They're more of a resource than a feral game animal. However, yeah, we're working with the system that's in front of us. But yeah, I ended up throughout that hog deer ballot, ended up watching it through Facebook, I think, and my name got called out as, I think it might have been like period 3 Snake Island, and mate, I nearly jumped out of my chair when I heard my name, and then they were like, "Oops, sorry, wrong name." Mate, I was shattered, absolutely shattered. And at least I knew my ticket was in, my name was in the hat, but yeah, I was so shattered that it wasn't me.
I messaged you and said, "Is that you?" And then I think I'd sent it practically before he then said, "Oh, I've made a mistake." So they went to a new system, and I think it's important to say, like, I have always watched the draw, and this year they tried a new system. It was electronic, and I think they were just on some random wheel. And I think the way they did it was matching a number, maybe the ticket number, with someone, so he then would look at a spreadsheet and then announce the name. And I'm guessing that, that can be quite difficult, in fairness. If you've got this massive spreadsheet, you've got a bit of time constraint trying to scroll through, see the number and catch it. I'm guessing that's how things went wrong, because it wasn't just you. There was a couple. And man, that must have been a roller coaster of emotions that time, mate. Saying, because 100%. It was the perfect time to get drawn.
Oh, yeah. And,
And then
it was like
to say, "Oh, sorry." I was gutted for you. I'm not going to lie,
mate. It was absolutely crazy.
And then I did say to you, though, I had a feeling you were going to go all right, and your name was coming. Yeah. And tell us about that.
Yeah, so I ended up watching the whole thing, just thinking, lucky my name's in the ring, like lucky my name was called out. It's there. And I ended up getting, I think it was position 10 emergency for Snake Island. And, they were like, make sure you answer your phone. So I've been answering every call, getting all the prank calls, the scammers. I pick up every single time I pick up the phone, just hoping that it's the Blonde Bay, the Hog Deer Ballot, asking me for, whether I'm available or not. But I still haven't got the call. I think the first period might be February. So it might be done and dusted, but I'm still holding out hope that I get that phone call.
Well, he did say, don't quote me, but I'm sure he said that like 18 reserves got calls last year.
Yeah,
it was a really large number. Because and when you said you're number 10 or whatever, I said, if it's like last year, you'll be definitely in with a really good
with
shot.
a chance. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
I do
fingers
think
crossed it's not over because we're mid-December, so there's plenty of time left on the clock.
Yeah, so I've still got to answer those scammers every call.
Yeah.
But I do think like
But
that hunt as well, like logistically, it's on an island. You're dictated to by weather. You got to get a boat out there. There's a lot of nuanced sort of aspects to that hunt. So if you're interstate, you may not make the training day prior. So yeah, it can be quite a tricky scenario, tricky hunt to participate in. But yeah, it's obviously a premium sort of opportunity, and sure, if I got drawn, there's no way that I'd be giving that up. I'd be making every opportunity that I could to get there.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, the weekend, the education weekend that they call it, which I think is another great idea. I think that is the tricky thing for some people because they were drawing people from WA, Northern Territory. So it's quite a variety of people getting selected. And that then adds to it because, especially at the moment, I think financially everybody's doing it a little bit harder because interest rates and just the cost of living's gone through the roof. So unfortunately there might be a few people there going, hey, I just can't afford to fly from WA to Victoria twice to do an education weekend and then go back for the hunt because it's just too much money.
Correct.
Which sucks. You'd hate to be in that position. I feel for anyone that would have to give it up, but I can see it happening as well because it's just the current state of affairs here in Australia.
Yeah, correct. I think there's probably like if going back to the whole COVID sort of scenario where a lot of businesses developed a different way of doing business via Zoom or there's a lot of apps out there now. Maybe there's an opportunity to do that educational course via a Zoom conference as well. I'm not sure what the legalities are or anything like that about that education weekend. I think the education weekend is quite pivotal to actually physically be there and to get feet on the ground and see the terrain and understand what the boat, how to get the boat, what operators are there to get you there and back, and who can take the hunters over there. So I think physical boots on the ground is vitally important, but there may be an opportunity where it could be remotely in the future. But I think currently that hunter education is vitally important to get there, to get the lay of the land and to get the information you need to have a successful hunt.
You're right. The only thing I'd say is maybe after this year's ballot with the minor mistakes using a bit of technology, they might shy away from any future technology. Just keep it how it is, just to be safe.
I think I saw some comments
that's
on the
exciting.
post, they were like, you should go back to how it was, like there was less names getting called out that were incorrect, go back to how it used to be. But I suppose if you did things like you used to do, there'd be no progression. And I'm glad that they're trying to develop and keep up with the times, So, yeah, it was a little bit disappointing, and it wasn't me. I think the guy's name that got called out was like Burgess or something, and my last name's Burns. So it may have been like an alphabetical thing where he was the next bloke under me, and our numbers were so close or whatever. But yeah, I was disappointed when they were like, no, not Chris Burns, it's the other bloke.
I use a lot of those things as a teacher, and there's one that's brilliant. I think the hunting club uses it as well. It's just a random name generator, but it's on a wheel. So you just click it and it spins around, and then it pops up on the screen, and you can have you could have the ticket number and the person's name, so that you didn't have to then go and consult anything else. I reckon that's probably the way to go for them in the future, because they could almost even live screen. They could put it up on the screen, have it live. So you can still have them talking and whatnot, but you could also actually see the wheel too and see what's popping up, so people can see the name being drawn. And, I know there was a few, I think he mentioned there's a couple of comments about it being sort of rigged and whatnot. And I definitely don't think that's the case.
It's not rigged.
Something like that takes that out of it. If you're doing a live draw and you're using that random wheel. It's easy. You see it. Like, there's no questions that people can't say, oh, you rigged it. It's just very transparent. I reckon that's probably the way to go for them in the future and make life easier, not harder, not having to, cross-examine 2 different sheets and have what happened. But, hey, that's part of it. You know,
that's right.
You're one ahead of me. I didn't even get, it's multiple years now, and I definitely haven't had my name called. I think Cody Guerin he's been 10 years in and still hasn't got it called. So it's just one of those things. You got to get lucky, and that's sort of excitement about it too. Like, I always watch the draw. It's pretty exciting that, hey, you've got the chance to get on this mad adventure.
Yeah,
and
100%.
This is for $25. It's like a bit of a lotto. It's great. I think it's a really good system. I love it. I wish there was more of it, to be honest.